Hello everyone. Today we're going to look at a slot 1 motherboard which was sent to me from Brazil from Jarvis, and I'm really sorry I haven't had the time to work on all the packages that I have received over the last 6 months or so. I tried to make up for this. I actually have a couple of Voodoo 5s waiting. I have a Gus ultrasound. There are Voodoo 2 cards, Voodoo 1 cards. I don't even remember everything. So it's time to clear out my backlog. And I will start today with this motherboard and a Voodoo 3 card, but we'll get to this one in a moment. Let's first look at the motherboard. This is very interesting because it has 72-pin SIM modules and 168-pin SD-RAM module sockets. I guess at that time it made a lot of sense when memory was still expensive and you wanted to bring over your 72-pin SIM modules from your Pentium, or worst case a 486, you could run this board with your old memory. I don't know exactly what is wrong with the board. I only know that it is not working and that Jarvis and a friend of his who tried to debug it were suspecting the BIOS. And you can see that here the warranty sticker or whatever this is was torn off, so that BIOS chip was definitely removed once. Otherwise, yeah, it looks a little bit rough, the board. You can see here that the sides of the IDE connector has been broken off. I guess this happens when you're not carefully removing the IDE cable from those pins. If you tilt them a little bit, you can break off the sides of those plastic sockets. Then we have two power connectors. So you have the old AT style power connector in one row, and then you have the ATX power connector right next to it. So this is a 20-pin version, 2x10 pins. And otherwise, there is not much else to say but that this is an LX chipset and supports only up to 66 megahertz. So yeah, this board will only support early Pentium 2 models up to 333 megahertz. What I've also seen is that here in this corner are some capacitors that are leaking, and this was just by me looking over the board. The board is a little bit dusty, but I don't want to wash it right now. I first want to try this board and see how it behaves right now. But we have to replace these capacitors first. These capacitors most likely have a very high leakage current, and that could cause all sorts of problems. It could even trigger the overcurrent protection of my power supply. But let's also quickly have a look at this Voodoo 3. And this, unfortunately, is also not in the best condition. You can already see that there are scratches over the PCB. Apparently, this card suffers from artifacts. So yeah, there is a very high chance that these scratches have something to do with it. Or maybe it's just a memory chip. Worst case, it is the 3DFX chip. Okay, but now let's first go and replace those capacitors. So 1000 microfarad caps. We'll test these caps once I'm done removing the other two. Okay, let's try these caps. We're looking for 1000 microfarad. And this looks like two diodes. No, that's not correct. Let's try again. Yeah, so this one is not even detected anymore. So number one is out. And I think this cap is dead. I mean, they're all dead. 29 picofarad, okay. Okay, so now I have my doubts that I can run this board with any of these caps on the board. I think I first will do a full recapping, even though I would like to avoid that. But it could be a fault, which, well, would cause this board not to function properly. Last one. And this also doesn't want to recognize this capacitor. Okay, I wasn't sure, so let's double check these capacitors with a multimeter and see what kind of capacitance we get. Okay, so it started at 600, now we are dropping to 280. Yeah, 280, which it continues even. So Yeah, these capacitors are definitely dead. I have to recap the entire board. Let's try another one. MF. What is MF? Millifarad. I don't even want to know. MF. I really don't know. I've never seen this on my multimeter. I think this is supposed to be a very high capacitance. So here in this corner are another 6 of the same model. These ones here. I don't know what models these are. I don't know the company. I have no idea. But yeah, the same ones are here in this corner as well. So I will take these 6 ones off the board as well, and then we'll measure them too. This board also came with these plastic standoffs, and I haven't seen these ones as often on Pentium 2 boards, or slot 1 motherboards. I definitely have seen them on Pentium boards, but slot 1 motherboards that are in the AT form factor, I haven't seen these type of boards that often. But yeah, they come with these plastic standoffs. $1,500. Not good. This is way too much out of spec, and most likely it's a leaking cap. Second one, 1,200. Okay, but still, you know, it's in a batch of very bad other capacitors from the same make. There's absolutely no way to keep these capacitors on the board. Third one, 1,300. These caps are old. Some of them are not even detected as capacitors anymore. Others are just an unknown part. So there's absolutely no way to keep those caps on the board. Anyway, now let me try to find the replacement parts. But before we continue, a quick shout out to PCBWay, the sponsor of today's video. Are you diving into vintage hardware or crafting cutting edge electronics? Then PCBWay is your go-to partner for top quality printed circuit boards. If you watched my last video, you're aware of the projects I'm currently working on. Without PCBWay, none of those projects would be possible. When there was a problem with my design or I had questions, PCBWay's friendly staff and skilled engineering team was always ready to assist. But fabricating PCBs is not all PCBWay has to offer. CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication and injection molding are other examples of the wide variety of PCBWay's product portfolio. Whatever your project demands, PCBWay has the expertise to bring it to life. Check the video description for links and start creating with PCBWay today. Okay, so I did find replacements and they are Rubicons. Here they are, 1000 microfarad, 6.3 volts, exactly like the old ones that were in the board before. 930 microfarad. So yeah, this is within tolerance, so these capacitors should work well on this motherboard. 930 as well. Okay, great. We do need to make sure that we are aligning the capacitors correctly. So the filled half circle is where the negative side goes of the capacitor. Okay, let's get these 6 caps soldered to the board, and then I'll do the other 3. And I think then we are ready to test what is going on with this board. I want to try and run this board with EDO memory sticks. I just want to know if it works. This is a table-free memory configuration because they didn't put a table in the manual. Apparently you can just install any type of memory you want in this motherboard. I'm not so sure, but fine. So this is all the manual has to say about that. Okay, so all that's left is to hook up the power supply, put in a graphics card, and then we'll see what we get. Oh, and we need a battery here. Okay, we are ready to test the board. Unfortunately, it will just power on the moment I plug in the power. So I need to record this from now. Okay, we got a beep code. So let's figure out what all of this is about. So one long beep, 2 short beeps mean problem with the graphics card, which is very encouraging because at least the CPU is working. The board somehow initialized and tries to look for a graphics card. I switched the PCI slot now, so the graphics card is in a different slot. Let's try this one more time. Nope, still the same. Okay, I changed the graphics card again to a different PCI slot, but I also changed now from ATX power to AT power because at least I can power off the board through a physical switch. So let's try this one more time. So we have no detect for the graphics card. Well, then let's try a different graphics card. Wow, still the same. Let's change the memory. Let's try the board without memory. Okay, so we do get a different beep tone now. Okay, let's install SD memory. Graphics card. Not as easy as I thought. This is now an AGP graphics card I have in there. Let me try an ISA graphics card. Okay, I took now a random ISA card that I found, and it's a Western Digital graphics card. I think it's one of the worst ones you can get. But anyway, let's see if we get a success with this graphics card. Oh? Oh, wow. We have the boot block BIOS, so maybe there is a problem with the BIOS. Well, we are booting into DOS. Look at this. But we do have a problem somewhere. So the ISA card works. My keyboard works. Do we just have to flash the BIOS? Yeah, I think here you see that this is very basic. There is no caching of the video memory going on. There is nothing, so it's very slow. But yeah, so this is already a big step forward. At least the board boots and posts. This is the perfect example that I wanted to try to show you in one of my very first videos, actually, where you're entering the boot block, and this is an early version of a recovery BIOS. So you could restore your BIOS if you had a bad flash, if the boot block section in the BIOS was still okay. The only downside is that you needed an ISA graphics card for that to work. And that is what we did here now. So yeah, that's great. Now let's try to figure out if we can flash this BIOS chip using the Award boot block recovery system. So I'll try to get the latest BIOS for this board, and then we'll see if we can restore it. So I should have a folder here called Soyo. Yes, here it is. And Uniflash is here, but I will try the Award flashing utility. And I believe I have multiple files here that we can use. So Award 5.6, 6.31, and 7.08. I think I will try Award 7.08. Let's see, Award 7.08. Can we get some details? Yes, we do. AWD 7.08. Soyo.bin, and then we have PYSN for no backup, and we do CP, CD, and CC. These are the switches. So let's see if that works. Okay. And now I think it's still reading. Yes, it's still doing something. I'm not touching anything. I think it detected the chip. Oh, it's programming. Wow, that's like... If you type something wrong in there, you might just be at the mercy of this program. Oh. Hey! Hey, we have something on the screen. Well, we have a 133 megahertz Pentium 2, but Look at that. So we recovered a BIOS from the boot block. That's crazy. Hey, the Soyo board seems to be working. That's cool. So yeah, then we only had a problem with the capacitors on this board. Yeah, so the SD card or the compact flash card was detected. And we're loading Windows 98 on the Soyo SY-6KL. So yeah, that board had actually two issues. The first issue were the damaged capacitors that prevented the board from booting. Even if the capacitors weren't preventing the board from working, they had to be replaced. They couldn't be staying on that board. And the second issue was indeed the BIOS. But we could only fix the BIOS by using an ISA graphics card because AGP and PCI is not compatible with the boot block recovery program. So yeah, I'm really happy about this and I hope you enjoyed this video as well. Unfortunately, I will not go into the Voodoo 3 today because I think, well, this video is long enough and I don't always have to have videos that are 30 minutes and more. I will use this board to figure out what's going on with the Voodoo 3. So this is coming very soon. If you want to know how this plays out, then I suggest you subscribe if you haven't already done so. Here we have the Pentium 2 Klamath Slot 1. We have the MMX instruction set, 300 MHz frequency at a bus speed of 66 MHz. So yeah, and this should be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. We are halfway through this project, so if you don't want to miss the other one, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And now I want to thank PCBWay for sponsoring this video. I want also to thank all my patrons for supporting this channel. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye-bye.